we try to infuse the two, two culture at the same time.
Now, we've talked about this on the show before, right? We've got fresh, that's a nice pound-and-a-half lobster, right? And then, we've got this is a female lobster, right? Because it's got soft over here. We want to make sure that they're lively and fresh and they're alert. No dead lobsters going in there. Hard shell, right? All right, Steve, throw them in there. Let's see what we're all about.
While he's cooking away back there, I'm gonna make a seasoning mix with some salt and these spices from your local grocery store.
Yum, that sounds great.
Keep stirring away back there, Reggie.
The chef's in charge.
Cut! Look, Susan.
Steffi.
This food sucks. You guys have no chemistry.
The only thing I forgot about you, Mr. Quinn, I got some nice ham for you, Mr. Quinn.
Thanks, me Carver.
You finish that ham, okay? And then I got some more for you.
And meat Carver's pretty cool, man. Sorry, man.
Told you I almost fell off the scaffolding.
I demand that you put that scene back in the film.
Or what?
Or don't put me in the film at all.
Are you crazy? You know I can't do that. I have to re-edit the thing and reshoot scenes and...
Then I'll sue your ass.
You can't. You signed a release.
Then I'll kick your ass.
What the amount in our bank account really indicates is how much money the bank owes us. It's a record of the bank's promise to pay us money, not the money we deposited itself. The difference is important. The truth is, when we hand the contents of our piggy bank to the bank teller, our money becomes the bank's money to do with as it pleases.
Cambridge uses dual stream recycling. This means paper products are taken to one facility, while plastics, metal, and glass are taken to another. Products which end up...
Good evening. Welcome everybody to tonight's episode of Café con Gas. My name is Gas. I'm excited to be with you guys this evening. We were just setting up the shot, so let me just sit in my seat. Let me just arrive. Have you all arrived today? Do you ever just run into a room and you get into a meeting and all of a sudden you're not ready to talk? I kind of feel that way at the moment, but I'm live on television, so hello. My name is Cassandra. I am your hostess for this evening for Café con Gas. Café con Gas is a program that was born a year and a half ago, and it reports on 3 topics: healing, arts, and diversity, with occasional guests. So it's a program that I created after taking a Harvard School extension class called Media and Democracy. I'm learning that just 1% of women lead newsrooms and dailies, and also 12%, the statistic is 1% lead dailies across the globe, and then 12% are women and minorities who make managerial decisions in the newsroom. So obviously that was too little, and I needed to make some decisions for myself. So this is what brings me on to tonight's show. I'm really excited. There's a line outside right now. I'm really surprised. So if you look on Café con Gas's and the Cambridge CCTV's website, you'll realize that we're right on Mass Ave. So there's people right next to me, so that's pretty cool. So let's just go right into tonight's episode. What are you watching, Café con Gas? Hey, what happened last week? Let's just do a little bit of a recap. We had a wonderful guest on last night's show. Let me move myself out of the way. Jasmine Pierre joined us, and she gave a really great experience on what it's like to be a YouTuber talking about depression, and that was just really fantastic. It was great to have her on the show. Her Twitter handle is @JustGotFaith. I also realized that during interviews I say a lot, so I'm sorry, Jasmine. I'm working on it. I'm taking a class this summer on public speaking. That's what's going on. So that's a little update for you guys. What are we going to do next? One of my favorite things is an emotional check-in. So let me just move this. Okay, so what's an emotional check-in? An emotional check-in is just a way to check in with yourself. I like to use a cheat sheet, so I use an emotional mood chart to check in with my emotions and myself. And I can tell you, it's been a mixed bag. It took a lot of courage to come to tonight's episode because I have been absorbing a lot of news and writing a lot of papers, analyzing the news, and I'm tired. Where is this? I'm tired. I'm a little bit hysterical. I'm a little bit frustrated with the status of what's going on in the news, cautious. surprised, really happy, always happy to be on Café con Gas and talking with you guys from Cambridge Community Television. So that's tonight's emotional check-in, and that's what an emotional check-in and I think is. And I think you should try an emotional check-in yourself. If there's any way that you can check in with yourself emotionally, whether it would be a minute in the morning or in the afternoon once a week, or if you are in a state of life where you need to do it every minute, check in with yourself. Ask yourself, how am I feeling? Tell yourself. How many times do you say to someone in the office or just on the street, hi, how are you? Do you really want to know the answer? When you ask yourself how you're feeling today, really invite that answer in. So that's a little bit of an update for you. So what is healing? Healing is to make whole, healthy, or sound, free from an alien. I'm sorry. This weekend I had I binge watched a lot of X-Files episodes, so I think that's why I said alien. All right, free from ailment, to bring to an end and conclusion as conflicts between peoples or groups, to try to heal the rift between them, to free from evil, cleanse, purify, heal the soul, effect a cure of a wound, broken bones. So healing is just finding a way to mend your life. So talk about healing. A lot has been going on. Puerto Rico has been in the news, and this has been a huge surprise for me. And hold on one second. Now you see a little technical. Here we go. So we're gonna pull this up. So I'm gonna step away for a moment, and we're gonna just talk about this. So something that was really interesting that happened in the news and didn't get any news coverage, in San Juan, students protested on May 13th. No one in the U.S. media really recorded this. And this is a really great firsthand report. And the first story broke out in La Prensa Latina. So I'll show you a little bit of how this story came about. So it's a really small agency, and you see a really small blurb as thousands of members of Puerto Rican university community rejected the possible cuts to the budget of the State of University of Puerto Rico in a massive march because of the fiscal crisis of the island. Student, teachers, investigators, and non-teaching workers of the University of Puerto Rico and members of private universities met at the capital of San Juan to march up to La Fortaleza, the host of the Puerto Rican executive. A deep emotion is filling me, said teacher Julio Muriente, when he stated that UPR few times is breathing such a unity like the one it is right now. And you know, with mixed feelings, I read this story, and obviously being like a Puerto Rican here, I had to read this story and absorb it through the third person. And the fact that the U.S. media did not recognize it was not a surprise for me. So the fact that I could go onto Latino Rebels and check out this news was really wonderful. So I have just some quotes here from the article and the story from Prensa Latina. Again, just saying, you know, the hashtags that were used here, Marcha University of Puerto Rico. And this is also a really interesting piece of journalism. So here you have the Latino Rebels, and they are talking about what had happened last week, and they're using someone's Twitter handle to talk about the news. So this is a really great way, obviously, for newscasters to get firsthand reports on what's going on. I've also talked about my own experiences in the Black Lives Matters protests. So it's really incredible to see the amount of information coming on this issue that hasn't been cut before coming to life. Here are some of the images that are really graphic. I think I'm very proud again that Boricuas are coming together, but especially being proud, I was like saying, we couldn't protest just in silence. I think this is a really powerful image. If you look, there's like a tie around her neck. They're just protesting the university budget cuts, and they also have the black eyes. And it's just a representation that poverty can also, again, this is to healing and arts and diversity, all three topics, that an act of protest can also take an artistic form. And I think if you're scrolling down through Facebook and, you know, looking at all the different articles, or you're going online looking at different articles and you see an image that's as striking as this, I think that's a really powerful tool that the students use. The students fueron tan inteligente, and I love that. Pero no me gusta que estamos hablando de los budget cuts and that the budget cuts will close down schools. I think that's a very serious issue, and I'm glad that, you know, the University of Puerto Rico and students and teachers have gone out. Again, thousands have come out. Here is something, again, really interesting, porque cuando estamos hablando de la verdad no es tan bonita. The truth, I was saying, when we are talking about the truth isn't as pretty. Sometimes it's ugly and sometimes it's vulgar. So there's a sign right here. And if you look at what that sign reads, it says, La educación es como erección. Si la tienes, se nota. So saying education is like an erection. If you're going to have it, we realize it. So again, something that's blatantly obvious, the importance of education on the island. So that was really interesting and something that I learned a lot from reading. So again, I was excited to see that the Puerto Ricans were coming together, but also the artistic representations and protests. There are some more updates here. Let me just go back to what, let's just go back to a little bit of PMP action. There's also, again, really beautiful images here, just from various students protesting again here with the necktie, con don dinero. And, you know, this is public education. This isn't privatized education. This is not even, this is public resources. So this is a really important story that I'm staying updated on. And what I thought was interesting, I'm going to pull up this article here. La Respuesta magazine was also covering it. Students striking students at the University of Puerto Rico have a message for the Puerto Rican diaspora. So my question for you guys is, let's take a moment. This is a very interesting moment when people are oppressed and when people also have a voice, and when organizers come in to help with that voice with the background that they have in education and organizing. There are words that are going to come up that I just wanted to take a pause and kind of just take a pause and figure out, what does that really mean? Right? So what do we all do when we need to know a word? We look it up in the dictionary, or we look it up in Wikipedia. So the definition of diaspora, which I'm going to pull up here, is a scattered population with a common origin in a smaller geographic area. So what's happening with this issue with Puerto Rico is that part of the wealth and part of the citizenry have moved. I'm a first-generation Puerto Rican. Our parents came here for more opportunities, and I'm struggling to stay middle class. So there's a really interesting message here saying to the diaspora. So I just wanted to say, to the diaspora, es como electricidad. Tú no necesitas saber usar electricidad to know what electricidad está haciendo. What I'm saying is, you don't need to know like how electricity works to know how to use it, right? So here we are in the diaspora, just this movement of people. So it's just a little bit of like a tidbit that I had. So anyway, so La Respuesta covered this, and this is the message that this is the message that has been brought to the table. And I'll just read this for you now. So the students of the University of Puerto Rico from Rio Piedras and the other university campuses are protesting because of the government threat to cut more than $1.5 billion in public services. Education is included in those cuts. Education itself has suffered a particular attack due to the approval of the law of fiscal sustainability and cuts of legislative grants. There are some of the poker chips that the government is moving to promote their imposition of the value-added tax. These cuts at IVA greatly affect course offerings and public education, alter labor rights, and public services like the Center for Community Action and Business. As of today, Friday, May 15th, 4 campuses are on strike. So that's a little bit of an update of what's happening in Puerto Rico, and it's a very interesting topic for me to be consuming via Facebook because my family in Puerto Rico, the majority of my family has graduated. I have a few cousins who are still at UPR, and by few, I mean one. So that's very, very few. So this is a really, something that I've been staying tuned to. So then finally, what I saw today in MSN, also really interesting, I see The Guardian and MSN covering Puerto Rico. These are two publications that I haven't seen talk about Puerto Rico in a really long time. Show in the Francisco Arroyo Elementary School closing down. So again, this is written in San Juan, Puerto Rico, but another interesting article, because Arecibo is not in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and is also home to a very large satellite. So that's just what's going on. And like I said, it's been an interesting experience absorbing that as someone in the diaspora and being here in the States. I had this burning question. I was thinking to myself, okay, so what's the solution? How can we create better solutions and a better economy? And that's just a question that involves towns, municipalities, bureaucracy, public, citizens. It's just a multi-level issue that I think people really we need to create a solution. So in the name of solutions, I have picked a video that I'm really excited to show you. This video is the story of solutions, and it's a educational video as I quickly hop from one subject to another about solutions. And I just wanted to show that to you because in reading what has been happening across the University of Puerto Rico with the budget cuts and also the effects of poverty, I've been thinking to myself, okay, what can I also do, and what content can I consume that shows me that I can still actively be a citizen and try to resolve some of these issues. So I hope that this video helps you think about how you could do that in your own life.
One of these? Of course not. This thing is 5 years old. Now everyone's got one of these. Can you imagine how much genius and focus it took to turn a music player into a handheld computer phone, GPS remote control for everything in life in just 5 years? Seriously, the thousands of people who made this thing had to solve thousands of problems that literally could not have been solved 5 years ago. That's what people can do when they're motivated to find solutions to problems. But the problems we've been busy solving are not the problems that most need solving. So much focus has gone into faster, cheaper, newer that we've actually lost ground on things like safer, healthier, and more fair. It's as if we're getting better and better at playing the wrong game. And in many ways, this system is a lot like a game, but with very high stakes. Just like a game, our economy was designed by people to get everyone to play by certain rules. And like a game, it comes with instructions telling us what the goal is. Think about the last time you played a new game. Remember? The first thing you did was find out what it means to win, and that guides every decision you make along the way. So naturally, the solutions most people are working on pursue this game's simple goal, and that goal is more. More money being spent, more roads being built, more malls being opened, more stuff. That's what economists call growth. So we take all the money spent on stuff that makes life better and all the money spent on stuff that makes life worse, and we add it together into one big number called GDP. We're told that a bigger GDP means we're winning. So it's the number that thousands of rules and laws are designed to increase. But there's a big difference between more kids in school or more kids in jail, more windmills or more coal-fired power plants, more super efficient public trains or more gas wasted in traffic jams. Duh. But in this game of more, they're counted the same. Now, we can't change a game this dumb one rule or one player at a time. The problem is the goal itself. We need solutions that change that. What if we built this game around the goal of better? Better education, better health, better stuff, a better chance to survive on this planet. That's what we all want, right? So shouldn't that be what winning means? Changing the goal of the entire economy is a huge task. Of course, we can't do it all at once. But when we focus on game-changing solutions, we gradually make it possible for a new game to be played. To do that, we have to be able to tell the difference between a game-changing solution or just a new way to play that old game of more. For example, let's look at two solutions to one of the many problems we face today, the scourge of plastic packaging that everyone knows is a disaster for the planet, especially the oceans. And here are two groups of people with very different ideas of solutions to the plastics problem. These guys decide that enough is enough, and they start by launching a citizen campaign to ban the plastic bag in their community. These guys have a different solution. They start a business that gives people gift cards to buy stuff if they recycle their plastic waste. Both of these are happening right now, but only one of them changes the game. The gift card solution does keep some plastic out of landfills and incinerators, but it creates more plastic by encouraging people to buy more stuff. Even worse, it teaches that more consumption is the right reward for being a good citizen, making it even harder to think outside that old game box. The ban the bag solution is harder to achieve, but it's a game changer. Why? Well, by volunteering their time, these citizens are declaring that there's something more important to them than just earning and spending more. To win this campaign, these citizens are going to have to team up with forward-thinking businesses offering alternatives to throwaway plastic packaging. They're going to have to build power to fight back against the American Chemistry Council, which lobbies for the companies that make all that plastic junk. And they're going to have to get out and talk to their neighbors and friends, inspiring yet more people to begin to question the old game. This is exactly what's happening in towns and cities all across the world, and they're winning. But can banning a few million plastic bags transform the goal of the game? By itself, no. But in combination with millions of others working on game-changing solutions that they care about, yes. Together, these solutions are beginning to turn the tide. As people build power to change the game, their citizen muscles grow. They work to ensure the local solutions they create get copied and scaled up. And when they see these solutions getting blocked by corporations with way too much influence, they team up with other solutionaries to fight for a real democracy, by the people, for the people. Gift cards will never do that, but thousands of citizen campaigns can. Whenever I'm asked to join in on a solution, I want to know if it's transformational. Will it change the goal? To figure it out, I use the word goal. I want to know that it, G, gives people more power, taking power back from corporations to build democracy. O, opens people's eyes to the truth that once basic needs are met, happiness and well-being don't come from buying more stuff, but from our communities, our health, and a sense of purpose. A, accounts for all the costs it creates, including the toll it takes on people and the planet. In other words, it internalizes costs instead of externalizing them, as most businesses do today. L lessens the enormous wealth gap between those who can't even meet their basic needs and those who consume way more than their fair share. When I see a solution that does all that, or can be redesigned to, I'm in. And they're popping up everywhere. Like the Evergreen cooperatives in Cleveland, where worker owners are running green businesses. A laundry, a solar company, and a super productive urban farm that are healthy and safe. They provide secure jobs to people that the old game has left behind. We all know we need to get businesses out of our democracy, but cooperatives go even further and bring democracy into the businesses. Sustainable, democratic, and equitable, that's a game changer. Or in Caponori, a town in Italy where local citizens, working with businesses and governments, are not just seeking to manage waste better, but they're questioning the very inevitability of waste. They're promoting solutions to waste, not with expensive techno fixes, but by working together as a community to reclaim compost for the soil, to find reusable substitutes for disposable products, and then to put discarded material to good use. They've already reduced some waste streams by 82% while creating jobs and building social fabric. And how about the new trend of collaborative consumption, formerly known as sharing? Sharing may sound like the theme of a Barney song, but think about it. It's a huge challenge to the old game. It gets us off the treadmill of more, conserves resources, gives people access to stuff they otherwise couldn't afford, and builds community. What's it look like? Bike share programs in major cities, online platforms that let us share everything from our cars to our homes to camping gear. In my town, the public library system lends out tools. There's just no reason that every house needs its own power drill, creme brulee torch, scanner, wheelbarrow, bike pump when we can share. As transformational solutions like these gain traction, we will reach a tipping point if we keep focused on the new goal of better. Without a new goal, all the work we're doing to build a better future will be A, not enough, and B, really hard. Too much genius and focus will continue to go to solving problems like iPhone battery life, while the problems that threaten human life spin out of control. 5 years ago, when we made the story of stuff, we started building a community of people who sensed that something was really wrong with this old game. We agreed there was a problem. Now it's time to build the solutions. Solutions that won't just change a few of the rules, but will change the entire game. Want to help? Come on, let's do it.
So this was a great video by Free Range Studios, which I completely loved, and here I am in the middle of the two. Right, so I used that video as a tool to motivate myself after consuming a lot of news about what was going on in Puerto Rico. my question for you guys is, how does a video like that translate to images that are as serious as this? So the media that inspires sends a really wonderful message, but the people who have to act are citizens. So it's up to us to make the choice. So the video showed really incredible concepts such as decreasing the wealth gap, an issue that's happening right now, which is the increasing gap between the rich and the poor, and also creating sustainable businesses like urban farming and bike sharing. So I'm thinking to myself, will bike sharing work in Puerto Rico? I'm not sure if it'd be helpful to get from one side of the island to another. We need something more than that, and that's government infrastructure. So it goes back to the people and back to the government. Again, finding that those videos are super, I almost said frustrating, because at times they are. You want to just, I think people who are solution and goal oriented are really critical and important for building communities. But also, I feel like something that I have been processing is how do you take all of that positivity and apply it to real situations where there's systematic oppression, poverty and violence, and militarized presence of police force in combination with prejudice. So in working through those issues, I implore people who make space for everything that is positive and also have the privilege to help others, make space to also encourage people to look at their current circumstances and also integrate that reality into your life. This is very yin-yang style. This is very much saying that we can bring we can not, in the spirit of Martin Luther King, we cannot fight darkness with darkness. We must bring in the light and the love, but they also must occupy a space together. So as you find different ways to inspire yourself, find different ways to also seek the truth,